Thank you so much for taking the time to talk this morning. I'm super excited to hear more about everything you're doing. So, could you just tell me a little bit more about the program and where it started and what you were trying to do with it?
Okay, so thank you for having me here. It's a great opportunity to share with us, with all of you, what we are doing. So we have a program. The name is Neurociencias Para Todos. It's in Spanish, means neuroscience for everyone. And we think in this program for this last word for everyone, because so we all try to include all the people, but in reality, there's many strategies that are keeping a lot of people out of science and also out of neuroscience. So this program was created like really funny. It's funny for me, and I think it's a good experience for all kids and young people to hear that, because it really started because there was two students, two baccalaureate in neuroscience students. They were in the second year, and they just approached to me and said like, we want to do something. And I thought at the beginning to do like science, wet lab. And they said, no, we don't want to go to wet lab. We want to do something, for the people or outreach or educational resources. And then at that moment, I wasn't planning anything, but then I thought like, let me think about it, and then we will see. And I was thinking like what we can do, because they were so highly motivated and enthusiastic that I thought that I should, take that opportunity.
Mm.
And then I think in parallel, I was teaching histology also for undergraduate students. And then I realized that there was many students that have never seen a cell using a microscope, even if they were, public or private school. There was just like very little people, like really close into cells, into
Mm.
the biology.
Mm.
And then I feel like it was a pity because they were like missing all this visual information that is just gonna feed their minds.
Mm.
And then also I think the third part that was part of the creation of this program is that my parents both are teachers in high school.
Mm.
And so my father in particular, they always believed like the education was the thing, like to change the world, you have to invest your time in educating people.
Mm.
And I don't know, he like always tried to teach you about, this thing about you have to be useful, you have to do something for the people, not only for yourself.
Mm.
And he was always giving classes to teachers. He was a mathematician, and he was teaching other teachers how to teach math.
Mm.
And he was doing that for free. Like always, I remember my father just going there and then helping other teachers to do that. And then that always like stick in my mind. So I think I
Mm.
just put the three things like at that moment I have. And then I said like, let's do a program for teachers, directed to teachers, and that we can help other kids, other young people to see stuff, and then to just feed their minds with questions and visions and things like that.
Mm.
And it was like that. And at that moment, I just got from Bagger Brains this rotoscope. This was like a microscope. It was so cheap, and they were working, and I was excited and said like, we can just try to do a course and bring some teachers. And then we decide to do the impact in rural communities, because that's the one that needs the most and the ones that have the less. And then in this idea to keep everybody inside of science,
Mm.
everybody have access to neuroscience. So then we thought like we will go to the ones that have the less opportunity, that's the rural communities.
Mm.
And then that was the end. And we started, I don't know, maybe 2007, 2019,
Mm.
before the COVID started to reach all the countries. And there was like an idea. And this is how it was created. So I always share this because usually I think that young people think they can't do too much,
Mm.
that their impact is little. But
Mm.
I always said, without these two young minds,
Mm,
we will not be doing this. We will not have this program because they
mm,
just start pure
mm.
say, we want to do something.
Yeah.
And then I just put some things together. And so far they are still with us. And there's
Mhm.
another teacher that was the one that I shared this histology class. So it's just Erika, that is the other teacher, myself, and these two kids. And this is the fourth that we start the program, and the fourth that we are still in this neuroscience for
Wow.
everyone program.
That's amazing. And so in 2019, did you just start your faculty job or you were a couple of years in? Like where were you sort of in your own professional trajectory in 2019?
So I start in 2018.
Uh-huh.
And I just thought it was not the best moment to start something because I was starting my lab.
Hmm.
You know, this takes a lot of
Ton of
energy.
work. Yeah.
Yeah. And also, I was leading the undergraduate program of neuroscience, which was also a lot of work.
Yeah.
And also, it was the first generation of this neuroscience program. So it was a really, really new, brand new
You're like setting it up.
neuroscience program.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it was the first generation. So it was a lot of work setting up everything. And I was leading the program, the undergraduate program. I was starting my tenure track position, trying to do science. And at the
Wow.
same time, I was teaching a lot.
Wow.
I actually don't know how I managed to have energy to start an outreach program. I also have two kids. At that moment, my young one was 2 years old.
Wow. Wow. So if these two students hadn't come to you, you probably would not have like, gone out of your way to like launch a program like this. But it was like the enthusiasm of these two students and like the wanting to do something that was like, okay, all right, fine, we can do something here. Yeah.
Exactly. They were really important and they have always been really, really important
Mm,
for this program.
I love that. I love that. So yeah, I love this like you kind of set it up as like this sort of intersection of you want to bring neuroscience to everybody. You want to help people see, like literally see the brain and see tissues. And then there's also this focus on teachers specifically. And I want to like dig into each of these things because I think they're all important. But maybe we could just start with like the seeing part because I agree it's like so important to see things. And actually, like you point out, it's just such a privilege to have the technology to see the brain, right? How important that is. So I'm like, can you tell us more about just like what students are actually doing, like in the labs that you're bringing and like what you're trying to teach them or show them?
What I'm trying to teach the students or the teachers.
Well, yeah, I guess ultimately, like what do the labs look like that the teachers are doing and then also that the students will do that they teach? Yeah.
Okay, so for this program, we are focused on the teachers, and we want to provide them knowledge and an equipment.
Hmm.
This equipment is a backpack that has a microscope, has tissue samples, not only for neuroscience. We also have, like, the leg of a grasshopper or some plants or bacteria, so they can see many things. They can use this for many things. Focus in biology or medicine, but it's for, like, it's diverse. So rural teachers, it's also really important because we knew that after starting the program, no. So they are two or three teachers in the whole high school,
Hmm.
and they teach like all kind of different courses, like really complicated because they need to know about everything. And they are also from different areas, so they are not all biologists. Sometimes they are mathematician guys teaching science, and that means also biology. So then we need to show them first to them what we are talking about. So when we bring them and we show them cells, they say like, wow, that, like, I mean, it's amazing. But they are seeing for the first time what they see in the books.
Wow.
So this is like the onion, like,
Oh yeah,
yeah, this
classic.
is the
Yeah.
wall of the cell.
Yeah.
We do this kind of practices with them, and it's amazing how they are adults and they just the eyes just bright, just like
Yeah.
get excited, seeing a neuron, an astrocyte, seeing, on the hippocampus, seeing the onion or
Yeah.
a leg of a grasshopper. And it's just how they are amazed. So
Yeah.
this is what we're trying to do. Like we try to amaze them so then they can feel all the energy to go back and then to
Mm.
amaze the kids.
Mm.
So these 2 days that they are here, we are trying to support them in terms of saying that we value how they are doing a great job out there without electricity, sometimes without a building, and they are doing, the best effort to do the best for their students. So we thank them, and also we try to help them to understand. Sometimes when you're a teacher, you kind of need to know everything.
Mm.
And most of the time you don't know everything about
As it
anything.
turns out, we don't know everything.
Exactly. So then we create a space that they can share, like I have never understand this,
Mm.
meiosis. I don't know, like
Yeah.
because they sometimes they don't have the opportunity to ask. So
Yeah.
then we have time for this. And then so they learn, we help them with the knowledge, with basic low knowledge.
Mm.
Also, we show them, we do with them practices that they can go back and do with their portable laboratory that we give them.
Mhm.
And we teach them how to use it.
Mm.
Because sometimes you just give them tools without all the preparation, all the knowledge for them to use them. They are not gonna use them because they don't
Mm.
know how to and
Mhm.
can be confused. So we
Mhm.
spent 2 days talking about topics
Mhm.
and about like basic information, answering their questions, and
Mm.
also doing some practices so then they can go back and do the same with their
Mm.
kids.
Oh, it's so amazing. And I think, like as you said, it's both you want to give people the knowledge and the know-how, but then also the motivation and like to have them see the beauty in these things and feel like really excited to go and bring it back and like put in the effort to bring it back. I think that's amazing. So these teachers, so this is grade school, like the kids are about how old that they teach typically.
So this is high school, which
They're high
means
school,
it's
yeah.
around maybe, I don't know, 14 to 17, maybe.
Okay. Yeah. And then these teachers, so I mean, this is like I think an important thing to note about your program is, like you said, the teachers don't necessarily have a ton of in-depth experience in one area. They're sort of like teaching multiple things, like math and biology, and so like, and that's a feature of these rural areas that you're going into and teaching. And so, and you mentioned like offhand that there's not electricity. Like, can you tell me more about just the schools and like what these
Yeah.
areas are like? Yeah.
So we are a poor country. There are many, many uh, people living with difficulty to, to eat or to dress. And so the communities that are more affected is usually the rural communities. So we target to them. So for us to choose, because this is a free program, we
Mm.
get money from many different foundations or, at UNAM, also from our university, they give us the money. But so we need to select people. So then we ask them, like, why you want to be part of this program? Why we should be choose. And so they sent us a letter, and usually they add pictures.
Mm.
And I mean, we have selected like many schools that are in the mountains where there's, I don't know, maybe a community of 1,000 people.
Mm.
And in that community, because it's in the mountains, then there's no electricity, there's no water. And sometimes, because we have seen some schools like that, that they just have like chairs in the soil and they just take the classes just like that.
Mm.
So there's many stories. We have talked also with the teachers, know their experience, and many of them arrive when there's nothing.
Mm.
And they just sometimes, the parents and themselves, they built one room or two rooms, with their hands.
Mm.
And sometimes in the communities, if it's not so rural, so, in the mountains, and it's just rural community, but it's just more big community. Sometimes there's the government spaces and they give them, one or two rooms.
Mm.
They start there,
Wow.
the school. So it really depends on the area, but as like now there's many more people knowing about the program,
Mm.
and we have every time more people like requesting to be part.
Mm.
And then we are choosing, and then we are now reaching like the poorest regions. And it's really hard for us to choose, because
Yeah.
when you choose 20, you are taking some out of the possibility of getting this.
Yeah.
And last time, it was last year, we have serious problem. It was 2 in the morning. We were not able to decide. We have 30, and it was like, which one are you gonna take out of this? And it was like, no, we can't do this to this. No, we can't do this to this teacher or this school or this community. So it's getting like emotional, because you see what they are living, you see what they are trying to do. You want to be part of this change, but also our resources are limited. And because we pay for the transportation to them to Querétaro, sometimes it's flying. And we pay also for the meals and the hotels and the portable laboratory. So it's not cheap. And we have so far select only 20, 25. Last time we'd say like, okay, let's select 25. We figure out how to pay everything.
Wow.
And then we select five more than we were expecting, just because we were not able to take out someone. It was just impossible. At that moment, it was just, and I still, the other day I was talking with my team, and I said, I still feel bad for one that I want to keep. And then the rest were like, no, this needs to be out. And I still feel bad. Like we took this teacher that he was with garbage bags, these plastic garbage bags. So they were like open, and they used with some structures just to make like the walls.
Wow.
So maybe for avoid just the wind. And then the students were in the chairs in the center, just surrounded by these bags. And I just can't take that in
Wow.
my
It was
out of my mind.
heartbreaking.
Like I feel so frustrated.
Yeah.
Like I need more money, I need to do more for them.
Yeah.
It's hard.
Yeah. So I mean it's so hard. I think this is like the double-edged sword of being in this work, is you get to serve some people and see the benefit, but there's so much more you could be doing or that needs to be done. Yeah. So I'm curious, like, what are the things that have made this work possible? Like you mentioned that you're using backyard brains or some other sort of microscope. So these are like very low cost things that you can actually easily package up into a backpack and bring to these communities. Like, yeah, what has made this possible to do at all to any extent?
So yeah, at the beginning we use backyard brains, this roach scope, and we just got them, we buy them. But then the next year they were just not available anymore. They are not producing them. And then I was trying like, okay, I need 20 for my first. They say, I know that there's 7 in Chile, and then there's, because they're like several like branches. And but what is nice, and I just told Greg H, that is the owner and director of Backyard Brains, that I tell them I need this for these rural teachers, and they say, okay, we can send you the how to make your own microscope, and they send me all the instructions, all the details, and everything. And I thank Greg like a month ago, like, you send me all the information to do it. And then we start to do our own microscope based on backyard brain design.
Cool.
And so they gave us all the instruction, all the thing. We start to build our own microscope. And now we are using a different model based on backyard brain original microscope. we lower the cost and make them like more resistant, because so sometimes the teacher have to walk like 1 or 2 hours to reach the communities. So then they need to be like very resistant. Sometimes they go to another community to do some neuroscience fair or something. So it needs to be like really portable and easy to fix it. So then we change. We use that as a starting point, and now we have one that is cheapest and that is working a bit better. But it was actually thanks to Backyard Brains that we could continue with this, even if they were not selling those anymore. And also we are asking money to like Ibro, for example. Ibro gave us money, and my university gave us money. We are now starting, we're gonna do a raising money, because this year we don't have almost nothing. We have just a little bit, and then we're gonna do a raising program. And for so my university have like the possibility to do with a foundation of my university, and then to raise money. I think we're gonna start to do that, because it's getting harder to get money for this program. You know what people usually is asking me is like, why you need to bring to pay the teachers to come to Querétaro to take the course. This is really expensive. Can you not do that? And I think no, this, because we need to motivate the people, and we need to teach them, and we need to work with them with their hands to know how to do it. So it's important for them to come. And their salaries are not good. They will not be able to pay and to come. So for me, I prefer to have 10 teachers, each one with 10 laboratories, each one with one laboratory, but they all know how to use it, instead of giving, I'm going to give 40, then you're going to have them in your house without knowing how to do it, or the motivation to do it. And also, we are part of a community. We have monthly talks with them. If they have a question, if they need something, they can reach us. We are helping them. We are there. We are trying to make a community, so then we can work together.
You're investing in them.
So for us, it's important. But this is expensive. This is the thing that is hardest to pay.
I think, you have this focus on teaching the teachers, and you mentioned that your dad was a teacher. And I wonder if you can just talk more about like, why is that the model, and like how, I don't know, how does that help with the sustainability of it and the growth of it, and kind of what you're thinking around that?
So, I mean, usually most of these outreach programs are focused on kids. And I think this is one way to go. But for us, it's better if you teach one teacher, because so we all have one or two teachers in our lives that make an impact. One teacher that talk to us or show us something and suddenly change our work, change our lives. So I think they are seeds, and they talk with many students, and they have many students each semester, each year. So I think it's a better investment to make these seeds like strong and well nourished, so then they can help us to disseminate science in all these difficult places. So if we have only 66 teachers that have been trained for us and give these portable laboratories, but then they see, I don't know, for example, 100 students per year. So then each year, he's gonna be impacting teachers and students and more students and more students. It's like this 66, but then it's just like extending. And because now we are creating this community, then if there's one teacher with this portable laboratory at one city, and then there was another teacher that were not accepted in the program, then they can share. So then we always say, like, share with other people what you know, what you have. Then help us to spread this and to use this as much as possible. They
Mm.
have created like bridges between teachers, and sometimes they do like a neuroscience fair in another community, or they have like, oh, I love this. There's one club, neuroscience club in a mountain, and then they go to another mountain to teach other kids about neuroscience. I love this. I
Oh, from
love this.
mountain to
So
mountain.
yeah, and it's true, once we were to a place, the name is Ixtepec in Puebla, to do a neuroscience fair. And so we were expecting, I don't know, 200 people. And then suddenly, the night before, said, like, we are expecting 50 people more. Like, what? So, yeah, because there's another school that knew about this. And then they are
Oh,
gonna, walk, really, literally, like walk through the hills to arrive where we were, just to bring the kids the opportunity to have this neuroscience fair.
wow.
And they walk and they
How many
arrived. We
hours?
saw them like an hour and a half.
Wow. Oh my
And
gosh.
this we saw them like, yeah, they are getting closer
You can
because
see
we
them
were
hiking.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean we saw, and
Wow.
like they are close, and they are really really doing this. And then this is people is used to walk through the hills because they are not like roads.
Wow.
And so then, I mean, I think it's the best thing for limited resources, just to feed seeds, to nourish those
Yeah.
seeds, and then they help us to
Yeah.
help them. And
Yeah.
then this is the way that we think we spread more, because maybe we can have, I don't know, 1,000 of students, but they are always going to be distracted. Maybe,
Mm.
yes and no. But the teachers, I think, is best. And for reaching the kids directly, we do this neuroscience fair to
Mm.
visit some rural communities. And it's always nice to see them, like, also, the eyes get like, so bright, excited.
Mm.
And it's also good for us to know better about what we are dealing, to make
Mm.
this the best for them,
Mm.
because we don't live there. We think we know about them,
Mm.
but when we go there, we understand more about how to do this better for them.
Yeah, yeah, that makes sense because if you're not interacting with the students at all, you might miss a couple of things. So it's nice to see how they interact with the labs and do it. And then you can iterate even further, like you were saying, like iterate on the microscope design or the labs or the protocols, whatever it is. Yeah, yeah, I love that. So has anything been sort of like surprisingly difficult or, I know like one thing you've mentioned to me is like some the main languages in the communities that you're visiting are not languages that even have like any scientific term in it, right? So like I don't know, could you speak more about that process of like what that's been like and what is it like to actually create resources for those communities where they speak an indigenous language, for example?
Yeah, this has been surprise for us. This was not in our plans at the beginning, but there was, I think, two things that put us in the context to see this problem about the language. So we asked for the teachers. We did a concourse, a competition,
Mhm.
for to create your own practices to include in a different manual, a manual for students.
Mm.
So then all the teachers, like started to work with their students to make practices and to help to make this new manual. And they sent us like many different practices. And one of them was in video, and they were speaking in Maya. This Maya is the second most spoken language, indigenous language in Mexico.
Mm.
And then they were speaking, and then we were like, blah, 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 because we don't speak Maya. And then it was like Jamaica. It was the only word that we understood, like Jamaica. And we were like, what? So they were using Jamaica as a colorant to stain onion, or to stains.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, but it was really nice to see them speaking their language. And then at that moment, it was like, sure. I mean, they speak Maya as their native language, they are making these in Maya. I think that was like the first, like, wow, this is amazing. We never thought about it.
Mm.
And it was just natural.
Mm.
And then the second thing was when we visit Ixtepec, this place that I told you about, the people coming through the hills.
Mm.
And there it was some students using these regional costumes, like really pretty dresses.
Mm.
And they were all saying to us that young students, his classmates, didn't want to use this dress or these clothes because they were feeling ashamed of being indigenous.
Mm.
And so she was always speaking in their native language. And there was like very few people trying to preserve their cultures, and then most of them were like rejecting. And then we talked to them like, why do you want to talk? And they said like, because I feel I'm different. And then like people that speak Spanish, they look at us like we are weird. We don't feel like part of, as Mexico, we don't speak Spanish. And then also the school is usually, in Spanish, and even if the teachers try to learn indigenous languages, sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. So then we talk with adults and with young people, and we realized that this was a problem, that they were losing their culture. They were rejecting their culture. And also at that moment, that neuroscience fair, there was also the presentation of a book in I think it was Nahuatl, the language. And so we were speaking with the author. So he was a person from that community that was written like stories, but in this language. And then I talked to him like for a few hours about the relevance, about keeping the cultures, because Mexico, it's many, many different cultures. But because we are Mexicans, we speak Spanish, then we are keeping the people that doesn't speak Spanish out of many things, including science. So then I think that both things were just like occurring in our minds and in our work, and then we decide to do something. So we decide to start to work on translating some of our manual in different languages. Now we are doing this in Otomi, that it's spoken in the Bajío, where is the university now in Querétaro. And then also we are translating in Maya, that is this is the second most spoken language. And it was also a different story, because usually this is like we are highly motivated, yeah, let's do this. And then once we are there, we realize that it's more difficult than we thought. And then we realize that it's not about translating, because there's word that doesn't exist in their language, because their cosmovision is based on their culture, what they can do, what they can see. So they don't have a word, for example, for microscope, because in their culture, there's no microscope. So then we include another student. He was also a undergraduate student at neuroscience, that he was spoken, he speak Otomi. And then he and his uncle were working together to create words. Like, for example, like microscopio means seeing stuff like closely, like, so they are creating words. And at that moment, when we are working with these two translators, we realize we need to work together, to translate, to create words, to make this language bigger. And that maybe can be simple, but it's the cosmovision of the culture. Like, wow, this is made of cells, and I can see a cells. I think it's amazing. And it has been really, really difficult to explain. Like, for example, you say like a cell. If you have never heard about a cell, you don't know that things are created from cells. It's difficult to explain them. Or nucleus, or it's a nucleus, or a membrane, or I don't know. It's just a whole word.
Yeah.
And this has been a nice and very interesting path that we are starting to walk. Now we have one chapter in Otomi, and in Maya it's almost closed. Like, for example, for the Mayan girl that is participating in translating, she's gonna come to Querétaro because like Luis that is translating in Otomi, he knows about neuroscience. He can't do it. But Alondra, that is from the south of Mexico, she's a translator in Maya. She's a young girl, very talented. She's a translator, and now she's coming in middle of June to stay 3 days with us. And as the teachers, we're gonna show her a microscope, tissues, nucleus, everything, stains and everything, so she can have a better idea about what we have there and how we have to create these words.
So she can do the same in Otomi.
Exactly. And we're working more close with Alondra because she's not in the background of neuroscience. This is also another problem. I mean, there's many people that say, yes, I could help you translating, but I don't know anything about this topic.
You need people who
and
have both.
It's not,
yeah,
because you need to create
yeah
words. You need to create a language. So people need to understand what they are creating. And at the end of this translation, we are going to have a dictionary of all the words that we have created.
Wow. So you're not only
about this microenvironment.
Yeah, you're not only like teaching neuroscience, but you're actually creating like scientific language in different languages. I mean, that's incredible. Like, and this is then a resource that other people can use. Oh my gosh.
It's amazing. It's amazing. I mean, I feel like I'm surprised and amazed and happy to do this. And it's against, I don't know what you think, but it's against, like the whole movement of the globalization, like speaking in English. I mean, if I work in science and I need to speak English, I need to write in English, I need to do everything in English.
I mean, here we are.
I'm not even
in English.
Exactly. I'm not even allowed to use my native language, which is Spanish. And it's, I mean, I can do it because I have the privilege to learn English or to live outside of Mexico. But then there's so many people that doesn't speak English, but just speak Spanish, and there's some other people that just speak their native language, or they just speak half and half. And so this is going against all the root of globalization. We have to make this accessible for all. We need to go to them. We don't need to teach them English to come to us. We need to make accessible the science and neuroscience to them. With their cosmovision, with their culture. And I think that's the way to do it. Otherwise, if you want to learn this, this is the text in English. You can't read it, bad for you.
And it's not just accessibility, it's also having them feel like it could be a part of their culture. Like, as you pointed out, like people like they code switch, like even for you coming in, and they're like, oh, I can't wear the same clothes because this is not like professional or it's not academic or something. And so you're also giving people the opportunity to like exist in their culture, in their language, and do science. And that's so powerful. Yeah, that's so powerful. I could talk to you all day, but we should probably wrap up. My last question is just like, where is this heading? What is it going to take to get there? What are you excited about? What's next?
So I think we want to put more effort in doing the translations. We need to raise money. That's the first thing.
Money.
I'm pretty sure we're going to have. We always have, and we're going to have. So what we're going to do with that money is to put more effort in translating. Also, we want to do a fair of neuroscience fair in the south. That is the poorest part of Mexico, and this is the Mayan speaking people. And we want to make all really accessible. So we need to put all these into a web page, so people around the world, if they need it, they can just download and do the same. We would like to be part of a community, you know, like many people around the world just working together to do this more effective. And also we want to extend this to neighborhoods in Querétaro, because also there's like some dangerous or poor neighborhoods in Querétaro that usually you don't go there because you are scared. But then also they are even if they are in the city, they are also being excluded, and we would like to include them. So then we would like to work with the governments so that they help us to do neuroscience fair in this neighborhood. We call this Neurociencias en tu barrio, neuroscience in your neighborhood. But go with the neighborhoods that are also not in the conditions to come to the university to our fairs that we do here. So we also want to go there, and for that we will need to work with the government so we can have the spaces and the support for doing that. These are our plans.
Amazing. This all sounds so amazing. Like, wishing you the ton of luck with everything. I hope people see this interview and this article and get excited about it. And yeah, thank you for doing the work that you do. And it was really nice chatting with you.
Thank you for having the opportunity to share with us.
The Transmitter.